Hey everybody, what's going on out there? Looks like we're getting a little bit of a warm up out here in Illinois and a lot of other areas that got hit with this cold blast of Canada air that came into the upper middle of the United States. So we're getting a little bit of a break from all that cold. So now we're seeing about 40, 50 degree weather for the next couple of days, which today is Saturday. A lot of the snow out there melted, and tomorrow it's going to melt some more. And then Monday, we're supposed to get almost up to 50, I believe. And I think we're supposed to get some rain, so a good portion of that snow out there is going to melt. And then we get cold again. Yeah, fun roller coaster. So as you can see, I got to jump on the shielding tape and trying to keep it, kind of nice and neat and not get real sloppy with it. It's kind of a nice, it's kind of a detail thing, especially when you put your pick guard back on and you don't see anything sticking out from around the edges as far as coming from underneath the pick guard. You want to make sure when you do this that everything looks nice and clean, like it's never been taken apart and never been done. And just more detail makes it look a lot better when you keep things looking decent and nice. Now, another thing that I like to do with the shielding tape, now again, I'm only using the ductwork tape, which works pretty good. And as long as you can squeeze out some of the glue in certain areas and stuff like that where tape is overlapping tape, or even if you take a piece of this tape, a thin piece of it, and stick it upside down and then run it across or whatever, that'll also help it to make contact with each other as well. Now, again, with making it look nice and neat, I have this tool here that I believe is supposed to be for prying off molding and stuff on vehicles and shit. There's a whole set of these. This one here I kind of took for myself because I like it. It works pretty good for some of the upholstery shit that I used to do, and it also works good with doing this, getting in there and pushing down around all the corners and stuff and squeezing out some of the glue. Around the edges over here, you want to make sure that they're nice and flat, because when you put the pick guard on here and you have, say, overlapping tape and there's a big bubble or crease or whatever, you don't want the pick guard to start looking wavy as well. So when I use this is I go around the edges and flatten everything out, and it works pretty good as far as keeping things nice and flat. Now, another thing that I've been doing over here is I have a screw hole here, a screw hole here, screw there, a screw here, and a screw here. Now, and another screw right here. Now, this is areas where there is tape on the pick guard, and what I want to do is make sure that these lock down as far as the way the tape is on the pick guard. That way I'm getting a good shield all the way around. And yeah, so let me finish up doing what I'm doing over here and get this thing kind of done. I'm going to go one step further on this. So I'm going to take a strip, very thin strip, about the length, strip like this, about the length of this. And we cut it there. And I'm going to peel the tape off. If I can get the tape to peel off. And I'm going to lay it down glue side up. There's a reason for this. Alright, then I'm going to take a smaller piece. and use that as like a piece of tape to hold this down. Just like that. Then I'm going to take another piece, about so big, and I'm going to push this down on top of here to hold that down as well. Got a little spot right there. I need to put some tape in. That's the hard part about getting in some of these corners and stuff. My fingers are a little bit too big. Alright, so I got that covered. Fold that down. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run another strip going this way. Come on, you. Do not let the glue touch itself to stick to itself, because it will not come apart if you do so. Alright, stay there, don't move. Now we'll take another piece of tape. Put that on top of that tape. Fold that down. Take this tape here and kind of go around with it. Now, if you see what I'm doing here, if you get what I'm doing here, I'm basically making this tape into a piece of wire. And what's going to happen is that tape is going to make some of the other tape conductive because it's upside down. So I'm going to put this in here like this. Get that all the way up against there. Make sure that the sticky side of the other tape is facing upwards. I need one more piece of tape. Fold that in so I can get that right where I want it. Alright, so let's see where I'm at as far as being able to get continuity from point A to point B. Looks good to me. So what I'm going to do now is take the end of this and kind of just go squish that tape a little bit. Alright, that's better. So now I'm making contact. So now what I can do is install the pick guard. I'll clean up all this fucking paper mess first. And then go over it a little bit more, just that much more, just to make sure that all these sides are doing that, making a contact with all of the tape surrounding it. Because if you don't, even though it's showing that you got continuity, you want to make sure that everybody is touching each other. That way everything is making contact the way it's supposed to, and you are able to protect from hum or any other noise that you may be getting. Go over and make sure that all of my areas are nice and flat. I don't want this pick guard to look wavy. Alright, so that's that wire there. Now let's put this pick guard on and make sure all the wires that I need to be tucked in are exactly where they're supposed to be, tucked in and away from everything else. And everybody sits nice and flat, nice and even. You get back inside there where you're supposed to be. And there you go. Make sure that these guys are not rubbing anything. No, they're feeling pretty good. Make sure that the wire is free, and I'm able to have wire here for when I need to adjust the pickup height. This guy is fully out. These guys are fully out. I can start putting the screws back in. So that's basically what it's going to look like. Now I oiled the fretboard a little bit on this thing, and the fretboard has like a red tint to it, so it's kind of interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and put the screws inside this and get this thing basically buttoned up. Alright, so I want to check to see what my grounding is like and make sure that, you know, some of these screws here are going through the tape on the pick guard and on the bottom of what I've already shielded back there. So I want to make sure I'm still getting a good, you know, getting some contact here. So I'm going to switch this on. I think I'm going to have to put a battery in that thing pretty soon. Alright, so here's a ground that goes to the bridge. And if I touch it, see the pickup. Alright, I'm going to get contact on that because the pickup plate is grounded. But here's just a screw. You know, I'm getting continuity on all these screws here that are shielding everything else. And I should be getting continuity on this wire as well, because that is also a ground that should be connected to these as well. Now I can't get inside of there with the probe to check to see how that back wall is doing as far as being grounded, but I checked it before I put everything back together. Pretty good. Now, as you can see on the edges over here, there's no tape showing coming through. Looks like a nice clean job. There is no wave or anything in the pick guard. So next thing to do is to put the bridge back on, solder up the leads to the output jack, and string her up, do a setup. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this is useful information for you, and stay tuned for more.